I'm Blair Crawford from Postmedia News. In February of 2017, an inmate at the Ottawa Carleton Detention Centre, Cleve Geddes, died by hanging, and a coroner's inquest into his death wrapped up today with jurors returning 48 recommendations that they hope will prevent similar deaths in the future. Lawyer Paul Champ represented the Geddes family at the inquest.
Well, we were really happy that they made such sweeping recommendations directed at almost every step or every organization involved in the criminalization sometimes of the mentally ill. It was the hospital, the police, the jail, the courts, the judges, the attorney general. Everyone got recommendations from this jury, and I think that that was really telling. Unfortunately, the officers who appeared here, it seemed that they weren't as aware as they could be or should be about the struggles that people with mental illness face and the dangers that they face when they're in jail, and that it didn't seem that they were necessarily aware fully of all the options they had instead of placing Cleve Geddes in jail. One of the recommendations that I was most happy with is that the jury agreed that the Government of Ontario should, as quickly as possible, proclaim into force the Corrections Transformation Act, which prohibits the use of segregation for people with mental illness or who are suicidal. The testimony that we heard in this inquest about the appalling conditions in segregation was very difficult for everyone to hear, and when we know that it was a person who was ill, who were in that cell, I think that's what drove that recommendation.
A group called Mothers Offering Mutual Support had standing at the inquest. Irene Mathias was a spokesman for moms.
And people in jail, they rely on a family member, hopefully, who has a landline, who has the money to collect calls. That isolates people inside. So the phone issue is huge. The other issue of families being notified. I mean, in this case, the family of Mr. Geddes had no idea where he was until he was in the hospital, unresponsive and on his way to death. They didn't know where he was. That's unconscionable.